Welcome to our first Geelong Business Bites. My name is Danny O'Leary. I'm the Managing Principal of our Geelong office. Adroit Insurance and Risk is located in Geelong. We've been involved with the Geelong community for over 40 years, and at this stage we employ over 40 staff. We have an amazing book of clients, and part of this Geelong Business Bites is to showcase our great clients and their story and their history and how they got to where they are today. Today we're here with Tasha Bolitho, our Senior Risk Advisor. Tash recently made her way down to Apollo Bay to meet one of our clients known as Wildlife Wonders. We brought Tash along today to tell us about her experience in meeting our client.
Yeah, so last week we had the privilege of going down and interviewing one of my really good clients, Lizzie, who is the CEO of Wildlife Wonders. She also is the CEO of the Conservation Ecology Centre, so the two businesses work in sync with each other. So Wildlife Wonders only opened in February this year, and basically you go down there as a group. You are taken around on a 75-minute guided tour by a wildlife expert, and all the proceeds and the profits that are made from Wildlife Wonders go back into Conservation Ecology Centre. And the main aim of the Conservation Ecology Centre is to ensure that we preserve all the nature, plants and wildlife in the Otway region.
So Tash, you drove down there on a day when the night before Apollo Bay experienced quite a large fire, and it was probably perfect timing to get down there and just see what damage a large fire can do to a client. Yeah,
well actually it was interesting because Lizzie's husband is a volunteer firefighter, so she had no idea when he got the phone call around midnight that she just heard him get out of bed. And she only found out later that morning what had actually happened. So obviously quite a few shops were damaged, and we obviously drove through there. We weren't able to get up particularly close, but basically they just demolished the two buildings because they were so badly damaged. And I guess it highlights the fact of having adequate insurance and having a good relationship with your risk advisor to make sure that every possible scenario is covered in the event of a catastrophe like that.
So we understand that insurance is not the most sparkling topic to discuss at a barbecue, but what we want to do is showcase our clients' experiences and their journey to where they are today. So recently Tash went down to Apollo Bay and had a unique experience in just a conversation with a client about a claim for theft of some funds.
Yeah, so Wildlife Wonders, obviously they were under construction for a 2-year period, I would think, and we were able to identify that they had cover under their management liability, and basically they recovered about 90% of the payment that they made fraudulently, which was a good outcome.
It's good.
I'm Tasha Bolitho from Adroit Insurance and Risk in Geelong, and I'm here today visiting Lizzie at Wildlife Wonders just to get a bit of a rundown on her business and I guess what inspires her. So if you just want to give us a snapshot, I guess, of what Wildlife Wonders is about.
Yeah, absolutely. Wildlife Wonders is the social enterprise of the Conservation Ecology Centre, so it's probably the best place to start. The Conservation Ecology Centre is a non-profit organisation based at Cape Otway and working right across the Otways, and our purpose is to generate knowledge to nurture country. Wildlife Wonders is a really special part of that organisation because it allows us to engage with people. So we're based here just outside Apollo Bay, and it's a lovely site for people to come and enjoy a tour with one of our incredible guides, to see wildlife living in the wild and learn about the ecosystems of the Otways and how CEC is working to conserve them.
And I guess obviously it's been a passion of yours for a long time, so it sort of comes back from a bit of family history in that sense?
It does, absolutely, yes. I have a family who are absolutely passionate about nature, but particularly a great aunt who really saw the importance of nature in the way that children grow up, and she had a huge influence on me.
Yes. So from start to finish, I guess, and including planning to get this up and running to where it is today, how long did that take, that process?
It's been a 5-year process.
Yeah.
So raising funds to purchase the site and have the planning permission in place to be able to do that. And then once we'd purchased the site, the construction phase.
Yes.
Yes, a 5-year process.
Yes.
So it's been a big project.
Yeah. And obviously the grants obviously would have been a big part of doing all that. So maybe just to give us a little bit of insight, because I know there are a lot of different entities, whether it's a sporting club or a social club or a wildlife venture like yours. I guess if you can give any insight onto how you go about applying for a grant, and I guess the things that may help you to get it across the line.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the Wildlife Wonders project, there's 22 funders in total, including state and federal government, which was incredibly helpful. I think the most important thing with grants is really understanding what the funder needs from a project, and developing that relationship and being very clear about what you need and what they need in that. And that stands certainly for state and federal government, but also for individual funders. Different people have different needs and different reasons why they're investing in something. And I think also being very careful not to try and make a project fit a certain funders' requirements. If it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it's best to look for something else.
Yeah. And I guess another couple of questions is, what's the most positive thing that you're looking forward to in the next 12 months, 3 years, in regards to Wildlife Wonders?
Well, certainly here at Wildlife Wonders, international visitation will be really, really important for us.
Yeah.
That's right. We're really looking forward to these vaccines rolling out and being able to welcome people to the sort of wonder of Australian wildlife will be incredible.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'm really excited about is the opportunity that Wildlife Wonders creates for conservation across the region. By having our own reliable revenue stream, we can invest in projects that are a bit cutting edge and a bit innovative, which traditional funding often doesn't cover. And we can also invest in things like ongoing monitoring, which is just so critical for understanding what's going on the ground and seeing those trends. And ongoing programs are really difficult to secure funding for. So to have our own revenue stream that can deliver that, it allows us to plan. It's really important.
Yeah. And is there anything that you're sort of concerned about, or sort of, I guess we ask people in business, is there something that worries you? And each business is unique in that regard. So is there anything that sort of sits in the back of your mind that's always a bit of a concern, going forward?
Oh, absolutely. And in conservation, we're always worried. That's the thing with conservation. There's so many species which are continuing to decline and populations which are at threat. So yes, in that sense, how we mitigate those threats and set up situations so that native species can thrive is really, really important. And I know that's less of a business answer, but it's certainly
it affects your business.
Absolutely, very much so.
So now we'll sort of discuss a little bit of our insurance relationship, I guess. So we've always been pretty thorough in making sure that we've got covered, to the point when I came out here last time we were discussing overhanging branches to make sure that they wouldn't be an issue. And obviously you've sorted that out, so that's great. Last year we did have an issue for you, which was quite a bad situation where somebody sent you a fraudulent invoice, which was unfortunately paid. But obviously you guys were quite clever and made sure you had management liability cover, which covers for things like fraudulent payments to a non-true payee. So if you want to just give us a little bit of insight, I guess, on what happened and how it all played out for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a terrifying situation for us. We'd never been involved in anything like that before. So an invoice came that very much looked like it was from one of our current suppliers. It used the email used the same language that supplier uses. It came from their email address. It had their email signature. And yes, we pay the invoice like we normally would. It wasn't until a couple of weeks after that supplier got in touch to ask why we hadn't paid that bill, and I got in touch with our financial manager, who said, yeah, I did. He sent me that email telling me to send it to the other account, and I did that. And that was when I got in touch with you. Absolute panic for our organisation. It was a significant amount of money. And it was so lovely just to be able to talk to someone that we knew and to work through the situation and see whether our policy covered that. And obviously,
and it was a good conversation.
Cybercrime was not something we'd ever thought that we would be
confronted with.
Absolutely.
Obviously, sort of the end result, I think, of that was too that there was a forensic accountant that also got involved with part of the the claims. So as part of a management liability policy, if you do have a claim like that, they will come out and try and help you to improve your business. And, if there's a little thing that you can tweak to make sure that doesn't happen again, and it could just be a little simple process. So obviously they did come and give you some help in that regard.
He did, yes. And working with Jamshed was fantastic. He was so thorough and so careful, and he went through everything so wonderfully. Yeah. And his advice, not just his advice, I think his support throughout the process was really wonderful. Yeah. And yes, the advice that he gave us has really helped us to improve our systems and make sure something like that never happens again.
No, that's good. Yeah, and I guess obviously that's the best conversation we can have as an insurance broker, is when you came in and I said, yes, you do have cover. Yes. Obviously the worst conversation is we say, no, you don't have cover, and you're out of pocket obviously, or begging, borrowing and stealing from some other place to try and recover the funds. So obviously it was a good outcome for both parties. So
that's
from
right.
that regard, it's been a good result.
For sure. And I think that relationship is really important, because you knew what our organisation was, and you know what we do. You make sure that we have the insurance that we need. Yeah. And that's incredibly helpful, because it can be hard on the ground to sort of understand what potential risks you could be exposed to, and to make sure you have the policies in place that cover that.
Absolutely. And it does help obviously to come out and visit the sites and make sure that everything's insured, because people do forget, and it's human nature. We're all human, so we all forget things. Whereas if someone can point it out, or likewise, you might be able to point something out to me. So
for sure,
So I guess that pretty much winds up our discussion, I guess. But obviously our relationship's been going for a really long time, and hopefully it continues to go for another 20 years.
Yes,
so we wish you all the best with Wildlife Wonders.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks.
So thanks, Tash. That was a great interview with Lizzie.
And much appreciation to Lizzie for giving us her time, because I know she's very busy, so we're very grateful for her allowing us to interview her about her business.
As I said earlier, general insurance is not the most sparkling conversation piece, but we love what we do. We love this region. We love getting out and about and seeing our clients. If you wish to have a second opinion on your insurances, please give us a call and we'll come out and see you. And make sure you tune in for the next episode.